Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Tariq Mahmood, and thank you very much for coming. There's a little bit of insight into myself about my public speaking. It's not developed fully, and I started at the age of 17, mucked up a lot of presentations during A-levels and mucked up a lot of interviews for medicine, and then I got into pharmacy very easily. So as I've grown older, I've improved. After the age of 35, 40, I've improved a lot. So I recognize my own development. So I'm here today to pick up more tips. So today's speaker is well-known Sidra Naeem, who is qualified as a teacher in 1995. Since then, she has been regularly speaking in large school assemblies. She has been a public speaker since 2003, including delivering interfaith and cultural training at Stansted Airport, the NHS, mental health services, and 2 county councils, Essex Police, the fire service, and educational establishments and schools nationally. She is a representative on 2 interfaith forums, regularly delivering lectures on a wide range of interfaith topics and arranging interfaith quiz nights. She also undertakes readings for the Civic and Justice Services at Chelmsford Cathedral. She is requested to write and deliver public speeches at times of major world events to promote community cohesion, unity, peace and harmony. Sidra's largest live audience has been 18,000 people at the International Scouts Jamboree, and her longest lecture has been 4.5 hours, after which her audience was still fully engaged. She appears on BBC television and radio as well as other international TV channels. In 2019, Sidra was appointed as the privileged role of a Deputy Lord Lieutenant in Essex. This means she represents Her Majesty the Queen in important events, requiring her to deliver public speeches after cutting ribbons and cakes. I'm sure she doesn't eat all the cakes. Laying memorial plaques and growing trees. Public speeches are also given on important dates like Remembrance Sunday. Sidra speaks in Parliament, and recently she spoke in the House of Lords. So that's the end of the introduction to our speaker for today, and I'll pass you over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming today. On Saturday, actually had 75 registrations today, which is absolutely amazing, and people coming from all over London. In fact, most people were coming on the trains. So my first public speaking role was actually in university. I was approximately 17 years old, like Brother Tariq, and that was my very first public speaking role, where I gave a talk on a presentation. And I was really, really scared, but I do remember getting an A star for that presentation. So after that, I thought, you know what, I can do it. I will do it. Look at me, I can do it. And I always had that in my mind whenever I come across hurdles, because an innocent 17-year-old, you can just imagine, how, I must be feeling. So that was my very first one, and the last important one like I did was, like what Brother Tariq was saying, was in the House of Lords. So I don't think you can get bigger than that, really. So now this course was actually a public demand from many, many people. So many people said, we would like to, come on a public speaking course, can you do one? And this kind of stuff you cannot do on Zoom. It needs to be done interactively, face to face. Which makes a change, because we're so used to now Zoom, aren't we, nowadays? Okay, so what we're going to be doing today: presenting skills, effective delivery of speech and topics, how to deliver it, okay, which is more important than the actual speech itself, believe it or not, okay? Teacher etiquettes, okay? Psychology of teaching, differentiation of your presentation. There's a vast types of audience And we need to tailor our presentations according to the different learning styles, even male and female, believe it or not. Okay? And audience engagement and management is very, very important. And that actually is really hard when you're delivering lectures to adults. Because children you can tell off, you can give them a stink look, which I'll talk about in a minute. You can tell them to get out. With adults, it's got to be much more diplomatic. So I will talk to you about all of those strategies as well. And adults are worse, actually, because a child will listen straight away, adults don't. They think, well, why is she telling me what to do, kind of thing. Afterwards, you will get a certificate issued, but I will mention that you will only get a certificate if you stay until the end. Okay? Because I cannot give out certificates where you haven't completed the whole course. Because the certificate actually says it on there, on all the things highlighted that we're covering. So teacher training I already did very recently on Zoom, and that is still on my YouTube channel, and that actually was really, really good and will actually help you in conjunction with today as well, where we talked about how to deliver your lessons, how to differentiate, what techniques to use. So we did that very recently. I also did very recently on Zoom a PowerPoint training course as well, which you can also find on my YouTube channel. And the PowerPoint course actually showed us how to make a PowerPoint, how to incorporate all the different learning styles, how to do videos and that kind of stuff. Okay? Right, so what do you think is the very first important thing before we even get up and stand and speak, or even think of speaking?
Your clothes?
If you can pop your hands up. So all of the things you learn from what I'm doing is what is needed to audience manage. So can you please pop your hands up and then I will choose you. So let's have Christine at the back there.
I should imagine it's the environment, to make sure that the room is appropriate.
Okay, that's a really good answer, but not yet. Even before that, while you are still at home. Yes.
Research your subject and know it well.
Good. That is so important. Otherwise, you've had it. Okay? You will get questions from the audience and you won't have a clue what's going on. Okay? And with a big number of people, you can end up having all sorts of questions. So even before you even think of anything else is the knowledge of the subject. Do you have the knowledge? Okay? Preparation is very, very important. Even if it's a 5-minute speech, because after a 5-minute speech, you can get people asking you what to do. Okay? So everybody quickly should have the slides, and you can write where the lines are next to each slide. And I have put blank paper there, so actually if I can get you in charge of whoever comes in to sign their name, and also take a blank piece of paper and the slides. That would be great. Okay, so even before teaching, your subject knowledge has got to be there. You cannot teach unless you've got the knowledge. If you are teaching Islam, it is not a joke. If you're teaching religion, it is not a joke. Because you've got to get your facts absolutely correct. If you don't get your facts correct, you could be teaching the wrong thing, not only to that person, but then they may tell other people. Okay? And your Sidra Naeem, your Sidra Naeem is not going to be right then. Okay? So your knowledge matter, especially in religion. If you tell somebody something wrong, then the sin is on your shoulder. Okay? Because the sin, whatever they do which is wrong, you will get the sin as well. That's the way it works. If you teach somebody something good, and if they do something good, then you will get the good deeds as well. And the same thing happens with bad things as well. Okay? Right. Dressing professional is the next. While you're at home, the night before, take your clothes out. If it's a man, it needs to be a suit with a tie. Okay? No cardigans, no scruffiness. Okay? And here is a picture of somebody who's just scruffy, and there's a picture of somebody dressed smart. Hair combed, okay? When you are standing out here doing a public speech, everybody's eyes are on you. And they will notice things that even you don't even realize. Okay? So make sure you dress smart. Ladies should try and wear a blazer if they can over their dresses and things, because a blazer straight away gives the impression you're professional. Okay? I will give you real life stories for a reason, because that's something you should do in your talk, because it helps people to engage with you. There was a very big conference once, and an imam walked in late, and he had a white, screwed up shalwar kameez on. Not only that, it had turmeric stains down the front as well. I just wanted to die. I wanted to die, whereas I wasn't even speaking. I was in the audience, and I thought that now is creating a role model for all imams. It was awful, honestly, the worst I've ever seen. So even if you're going to wear a thawb, but maybe you're an imam. Are you an imam? No? But you look religious. But even say you're wearing a thawb and you're giving a speech in a mosque, you need to try and wear a blazer on top so it looks like a suit or looks smart. Okay? But obviously you're not going to dress differently just for other people. You will dress the way you want to, but you can smarten up. Okay? Wear cool clothes. Why is that? You get really hot when you are delivering something, because you're big stress mode. You go into stress mode, seriously, and you get really hot. No jumpers and no cardigans. That's casual. Okay? No jumpers and no cardigans. Blazer. And if you dress smart, people take you seriously. Okay, and it makes you feel confident as well. All these things when you dress up smart, it makes you yourself feel confident as well. Yes?
If a speaker is very experienced, would they also experience getting hot, or would they not get hot? Because
generally you do, believe it or not. You do get a little bit stressed, because you're not just talking to yourself, are you? You'll get used to it, but you do still get hot, especially with the question and answers. And you think, God knows what question's going to come my way. You do, on the whole, and you're worried about technology, like the other day. If that didn't make me feel hot, I don't know what would. So, you always have stress of technology, you have stress. I've got stress now at the moment of people walking in late. I've got stress of, are they going to find the way? I've got stress of my mobile going off. You know, there's always stress. Right. And ladies as well, dress in context with the topic or environment. So the other day, when I went and I did the Interfaith Forum, I was dressed in religious clothing, because the topic was on religious clothing, and there were two brothers as well who were dressed in religious clothing. So it really fits the scene, okay? Think of, where is it you're going? Are you going to a mosque? No miniskirts allowed. You need to dress properly like you're going to a mosque, okay? Look at the setting and dress according to that. If you're going to a mosque, have a headscarf ready if you're non-Muslim, and it should still be smart. I've done also, for example, a burial course, and I dressed all in white that day. It fits the scene, doesn't it? Okay? So those kinds of things. A quiz night. There's a quiz night coming up in a couple of weeks, and you're going to see me all glitzed up, because it's a quiz night, and that's the kind of things people wear at quiz nights. Okay? Right, you wear a badge. Okay? Because again, that is professional. Who are you otherwise? Some people may come in late and they may think, who the hell's that? Okay? Or somebody may host you and introduce you and they go, well, who the hell's that? Okay? So you need to wear your badge because it makes you look professional. Okay? If you're not part of an organisation, you may be doing it through work, or you're doing it through the NHS, then you would wear your NHS badge. Okay? Or you can have a plain one with your name on it, but with something on there to show in what capacity you are there as well. Okay? Wherever you go, take your DBS with you, and a driving license or passport or a photo ID, wherever you're going to speak. That is actually normal protocol nowadays, because when you go to schools, they always ask you for ID. So have your driving license ready and passport as well. Should you write your speech? Because we're going to cover a 5-minute speech first, and then we're going to go into more lengthy presentations. Should you write your speech? Yes. Always write your speech. The reason is that when you are up here, you get nervous and you forget. No matter how much you think you know your speech off by heart, always write it down. And writing it down with your hand helps you to remember as well. Okay? Because the process from the brain to the hand is a much more stronger process than you typing it into your phone or you just reading it out from memory. It helps you to remember when you write your speech down. Even the Queen writes her speeches. Her speeches are written down, aren't they? Yet she gives speeches all her life. Boris Johnson, he always has a paper in his hand. He doesn't just get up and just read, even though a lot of the stuff he says is rubbish. He still has it written down, doesn't he? Okay? Because nerves make you forget. The font should be large. Have you got your sheet that you read from? I'll just show everybody. The one that the one you read from just now. And I'm going to show everybody what it looks like. Okay, so it's bold. It's bold for a reason. Did you know when you get nervous, your eyes glaze over and it goes all blurry? This has happened to me in a cathedral and I couldn't read my speech. So it needs to be bold. It needs to be in Comic Sans handwriting, which is the most simple writing you can get. Comic Sans, where the G's and the E's are normal G's, not the funny G's. Okay? And it should also not be on tatty bits of paper. I have seen many people, they get little bits, tatty bits out of there, and you just think, God, how unprofessional. And make it large in case you forget your glasses as well. Make sure it's large. If your speech is a really good one, like a poem, make a few copies which you can give out to other people. I've done poems and people said, oh, can I have a speech? And can I have a speech? So take a few copies. It should be in a plastic folder or a plastic sheet. I'm going to ask you that question because that scenario happened once with me. I don't know if you remember it. Last year's Holocaust Day.
Why it should be in plastic?
Yeah, remember you were reading the speech and what was happening to the speech as you was reading it out?
There was snow falling down and it melted my ink pen.
Yep. So think ahead. If you're reading outside, in a public place outside, make sure there's plastic on it. Because like the brother said, we've got a story to tell. It was Holocaust Day last year, it was snowing. And luckily there was only 2 people in the audience because it was lockdown. And his speech was melting as he was reading it, including the paper. It was hilarious. And that's the day I thought, you know what? Plastic, it needs to go in plastic. You live and learn, don't you? That's why I'm giving you all these techniques, even things that you don't think about, I'm telling you. Okay, and have a backup in case you cannot find your speech. Have a backup on a USB stick. Okay? What should you do the night before?
Sleep well.
Sleep well, good. Otherwise your brain activity is very low the next day. What else should you put near the front door or in the car the day before? Pardon? Can we put our hands up? Yes.
Everything you need.
Everything you need. Electricals near the front door. Find out beforehand what is it that the place where you're going already has. If it's a school, you're covered. But I always have backup. The amount of times I go somewhere and the electrical equipment doesn't start up. Have your own backup. I mean, Linda, you've got a really good viewpoint of that because we came to your church, you had everything, but we didn't know how to work it. Yeah? And so I had my own backup with me, which we did use them on the day. Okay, put spare batteries as well with your equipment. That's happened before so many times. I've sent both of these brothers out on separate occasions to go and get batteries from the shop. Expensive stuff, leave it in your house, but non-expensive, put it all in the car the night before. Because in the morning you don't know what time you're going to wake up. Okay? Do not overeat. Do not overeat on that morning. You will end up burping while you are giving your speech. Okay? And No cold food out of the fridge or drinks. Does anybody know what happens when you have cold things? Ice. Good, well done. Your throat, my voice goes completely hoarse when I have cold things. So no cold drinks that morning. And there's something else which makes your voice go. Does anybody know? Something Asians eat a lot. Yes? Chilies. Green hot chilies, fresh green chilies. Not to eat those when you are about to give a speech. No sour stuff like lemons and things, or lime and things like that. Okay? Right. How much time should you leave before coming out? When you are publicly speaking somewhere. Yes, Linda?
More time than you think.
Yes. Allow for traffic. How long before your actual talk should you get to the place?
15 minutes beforehand.
No, I'm going to ask my husband because he knows how many hours earlier do I get everywhere.
6 hours.
No, come on, you know.
Feels like
Pardon?
1 hour.
1 hour. 1 hour is the minimum time which you should get there, okay? Because you need to set up everything. Your electricals, the food, the speeches, whatever you need to do, okay? In case something is wrong, the electrical stuff is not working, then you need to go and you need to find projectors and computers that work, okay? All sorts, honestly. Sometimes the computers are not compatible with your PowerPoint which you're doing. It's not the right version and things like that. So you need to get there early, and you may lose the way. Your sat-nav might give way. The station may be closed. All sorts. Okay? Time is very, very important, and there is a very important etiquette of punctuality in our religions and also just generally. Okay? And Muslims, it's a shame to say this, but it's always Muslims that are late, and it's Muslims that actually invented clocks. So it's sad, isn't it, really? And if you think of our prayer times, you think of our fasting, it all revolves around the religion, doesn't it? Dead on time is Maghrib. Dead on time we need to open our fast. So we should learn, really, from our religion not to be late. Okay, so being late is a form of stealing. When you make others wait for you, you rob minutes from them that they will never get back. Being late is arrogant and shows an overestimation of one's worth. Being on time shows you respect for others. So I have seen so many times an imam will walk in late and it's like, look at me everybody, I'm here late. But everybody's waiting. That's acting arrogant. You need to be there before everybody else. You can greet people and speak to them. And, hello, you've come from a long way today. Oh, hello, so nice to see you. And oh, hello, Christine, you're from where are you from? Like I asked when she came in here. Okay? You need to be there early. You are hosting them. You need to be there early to talk to people. You don't just walk in after they're all here. Okay? How many weddings have we been to and the hall's locked? They haven't even got there yet over the hall. It's terrible. So I've got 2 quotes here from the Quran, especially for Muslims. Being late is breaking a promise. Being on time shows others that you are a man of your word or a woman of your word. Allah called upon the believers, O you who believe, fulfill your promises. Allah also praised Prophet Ismail. He was true to his promise. He was a messenger and a prophet. Keeping appointments is vital to our lives. Time is the most precious commodity. Once wasted, it can never be recovered. If your punctuality is poor, you will lose people's respect and trust. Okay? So it is very, very important. Not just in your professional jobs, because some people are just like that in their professional jobs, but then everywhere else they're late. But you need to be professional all the time. Okay? Right. Then try and get somebody to introduce you. I didn't introduce myself today. I got somebody else to do it. That's the normal protocol. Okay? It should be a chair of your organization who's asked you to do the talk. It can be a head teacher of your school. It can be a person who invited you to speak. Unless there is a written agenda to tell people who you actually are. Okay? Sometimes you have a written agenda and it's written on there who you are, and then you don't need somebody to introduce you. But you should really have somebody to introduce you. And there's another reason. If you look at everything that Brother Tariq said, if I had said it, it would be like I'm bragging, wouldn't it? It would be like, oh my gosh, she's such a show-off. You know, she's bigging herself up. But when someone else does it, you know it's genuine, because they, I'm sure, wouldn't say it unless they knew that is the case. Okay? Because sometimes, believe it or not, Brother Tariq asks me, he goes, you know, you've written that you give international lectures on al-Falaq, is that true? He does ask me, he tests me, and then I give him proof, because I'm sure he's not going to say anything that isn't true. Okay? So it's very good when somebody else introduces you. Okay? That's why we have a host. He's the host for the Interfaith Forums as well. Right. We should not be, yes?
Can I just ask you, whose responsibility is it to ensure that the venue is appropriate for all disabilities, hard of hearing, partially sighted? Whose responsibility is that? Is that the speaker, or is that the person whose venue it actually is?
The person who is hosting the event. Okay? So
In this
today is
case-
a little bit
In
different.
this case, it would be you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am hosting this event myself, and I'm the speaker. So I made sure, I came here yesterday actually to set up the whole hall. We checked if the heaters work, we checked the toilets, was there, you know, toilet rolls in there, everything. And the speaker systems. I've got a separate speaker system for me talking, and we've got another separate speaker system for whatever comes out of the laptop, sounds as well. So all of that. But if you went, for example, somewhere to do the talk, where the NHS sent you, it would be their responsibility.
So if you, if you were going to the House of Lords, whose responsibility would that be then?
Well, when I went to the House of Lords, there was somebody hosting that event, and it's their responsibility. I went as a speaker.
Right.
Yeah, I was invited there to speak, and it's their responsibility to make sure everything's booked and the IT, everything. When I went, I didn't take all this stuff along on the train. Well, I didn't go on the train, a taxi came to get me. Really high class event that was, which I'll never forget. Yeah, we had a proper taxi who came to collect us. So I didn't take anything with me, nothing at all. I took my speech in my handbag, but that was it.
Just to add to that, because you mentioned disability, normally when you go to a course or if somebody's hosting, they will ask you if you have any special dietary requirements or if you have a disability, so then they will make arrangements for access if you're a wheelchair user. So usually it would be the person hosting. The questionnaires normally sent out.
Yes.
Those questions are asked
Yes.
beforehand.
So we're going to have questions at the end, but if there's any questions directly linked with what I'm saying, then that's absolutely fine. Again, watch what I'm doing. I am managing the audience. Okay? If she asks me a different question, like, oh, where did you get your suit from? That's really nice. It would be, I'll talk to you later. Okay? Right. Be careful with what you're doing. Are you chewing gum while you're talking? Have you got pizza in your hand? Okay, have you got a bottle of water in your hand? Or a cup of tea? That's unprofessional, actually. Okay? When it's the break, that's when you can have that. Are you yawning? Are you waving at somebody? All of these things. It's very, very important. Have you got children with you? There was a talk once at my uni, and my husband was watching afterwards, and he goes, what the hell are those children doing with her? That was so unprofessional. She came with a baby in her hand because she couldn't find babysitting. So it does happen. Honestly, I've seen all sorts. Pets. Have you brought your pet dog along, with you? So these are all things really that you need to think about. Seating arrangements. Now, anybody who is very distracting, put them in front so that you can keep an eye on them. This is more for children. However, when you are doing talks like this, I always have nice, smiling friends at the front who I can look at and they can nod, yes, you're doing very, very well. Okay? Because If you have somebody at the front who's like, it puts you off the talk. Okay, so I do select. There's some talks where my dad comes along and I say, Dad, come and sit at the front, because he is brilliant. I look at him and it's like, smiles, well done, you're doing really, really well. Okay? There are certain people who you choose to put at the front who you know like you and they're going to make you confident. Okay? And I did do that today. I said, you two come and sit at the front, didn't I? Yeah? Okay. So, very, very important. Anybody who has got learning disabilities, put them at the front. Wheelchairs, hearing impairment, all of that kind of stuff. Okay? They need to come to the front. Okay, so that's me, Craig at the front, who may have ADHD, but I don't know, but he can't sit still, so he goes at the front. Okay, in that way they pay attention more. Right, everything's ready. You've gone to the vent, everything's ready now, okay, to start speaking. And you go up to the podium. Okay, so first of all, you should try and look for a podium or a lectern, because that makes you look more professional. Okay, and you need to go to the toilet beforehand, because nerves makes you want to go to the toilet. Okay, so go beforehand, before the talk starts. And you will get nervous when you first come to the front because you don't know what your audience is going to be like. You take 3 deep breaths, okay? You either do it before you come on or you can just do it sort of inside. So the other day at Linda's place, I went in the side and I took 3 deep breaths because it was just, the IT wasn't going right, was it? So you just, this is how you do it. You go, hold your breath for 3 seconds and then you exhale 3 times. And then again for the 3rd time. 1, 2, 3, and then you exhale. Okay, now this may look silly to you, but when you stand here, you're in stress mode. Okay? What that does is it puts you in peace mode. The 3 breaths puts you into peace mode. You can look it up. I'm not going to go into science today. Okay? If you're still nervous, keep a gadget in your pocket, like this, and squeeze it. It's a stress ball. Something small, you can even use blue tack, you can use a twisty thing. You pop it in your pocket and you squeeze it like this. And that helps to get rid of the stress into that ball. So all your stress, your energy, negative energy goes in there. Okay? But pop that in your pocket. Okay, the next thing, you have to always stand when you're giving a talk. I have been to so many places where, especially the interfaith forums, where people just sit and they give a talk. Why should you stand? What's the reason behind that? Why should you stand? Are you Khudja?
I am.
Oh my God, I just recognized you.
I just don't want to interrupt you.
Oh my God, I will come and give you a big hug later. I only know her through Zoom. And you, are you Lubna?
No, she just popped out.
Oh, okay, right. I only recognise you look so different, don't you, on Zoom? Anyway, Khudja from Croydon Mosque, everyone, you know her, don't you? Right, okay, sorry about that. I was not supposed to do that, by the way. Okay, what was I saying? Why do you have to stand and give your talk and not sit down? Yes?
Does it help you breathe and talk better if you're standing?
It does, well done. And it makes you exhale better, and it makes this area bigger, the lungs. When you sit down, you're compressing your lungs.
So it's like singing in a way, isn't it?
Singing, you don't sit and sing, do you? You stand and you sing. Exactly, well done. That's what you need to do. Yes?
You could also see your audience better.
You can do. Yes, you can do. Yes, Rosina?
Make you more confident and then you're able to use the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. Yes?
And it's a more commanding posture.
It is more authority. Yes, more authority. Yes.
I was going to say the same as that one. It's more positive body language.
Brilliant. Yeah. See, little things you don't think about, and your voice is louder when you stand up as well. Yes.
Having said that about standing, I've been to some talks where there's multidisciplinary teams and everybody talks while they're sat down. I don't know whether they're trying to show equality or I'm laid back.
It depends what kind of talk it is. If it's like when you said multidisciplinary meetings, there could be just medical meetings, that's different. We're talking about standing and giving a speech, or interfaith forums. Some of them sit and do it. You should stand, okay? Use a podium or a lectern to put your paper on, and then you can use your hands. If you hold the paper in your hand, it may be shaking, because if you're shaking nerves. Put your paper down on a lectern, and then also your hands are free to express yourself. You need to use your hands when you are talking, okay? I did a lecture once, it was the Hajj lecture, and a deaf man came. He couldn't hear me at all. He was in the audience. And he said to me, and I said to him afterwards, "Are you okay, brother? Did you hear everything I said?" Obviously, he didn't hear what I said, but did you understand everything I said because of the PowerPoint? He said, "I heard everything because I saw your mouth speaking," and he said every single word you were saying, doing with your hands. So express your hands, and you can only do that if there's nothing in your hands. So pop your paper down on a lectern, okay? So we haven't started speaking yet. We're at the podium. What's the first thing you have to do?
Greeting.
Pardon?
Greeting.
Greeting, yes. But even before that, before Brother Tariq came to introduce me, what did I say to everybody?
Welcome.
No.
Hello!
Okay, so you need to grab their attention. What's the point of you talking while everybody's nattering away? Okay? Hello everyone, we're ready to start now. Or, I think we're ready to start. Okay? Can everybody take their seats? Can we not eat yet, please? We are going to have a break later on. That kind of stuff. Okay? So draw everyone's attention that you are about to start. There's nothing worse than starting whilst everyone is talking. Okay?
Hello!
Now that's another thing which I'll talk about. Put comedy in your stuff. Make people laugh. Khuja always tells me, when you laugh, I laugh. I can't stop laughing. You laugh and I laugh, she told me, and that's on Zoom. She always tells me, you make me laugh. Yeah, so you need to make people happy. You need to create a positive atmosphere. So yes, have jokes in there, no matter how serious your talk is, because we are going to, in a minute, make our own talks, okay? And you will put all these little things in. This is why I'm covering all this now, okay? And you tell people to stop talking, okay? That is your right as a speaker. So everybody, we're about to start talking now. We're about to start now. Can we have a little bit of hush? Sometimes I say fingers on your lips, everybody. You might have heard that. Fingers on your lips, everybody. There's nothing wrong with that. You say that to children, but you can say that to adults. There is nothing wrong with that. Fingers on your lips, everybody. Okay? Now, when you set boundaries, you get respect, believe it or not. Okay? You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. This is a psychological thing where when you set boundaries, people respect you more. Okay? Okay, let's look at the boundaries now. What boundaries can we put on our audience? What is the very first thing that I need to tell the audience before I speak? Yes?
Switch off their mobile.
Okay, see, you did put your hand up. Hands up only. Yes.
Switching up the mobile.
Good. Excellent answer. Well done. The first boundary, please switch off your mobile phones. Put them on silent. There is nothing worse than you doing a big Queen's speech and a mobile phone goes off in the middle. Okay? Be your own role model and switch yours off too. And the audience should not answer to even their phone buzzing, really, because it disrupts everybody. Just now, poor Sheena had my phone and I said, please answer it, and I told her to go outside for a reason, because here it would disrupt everybody. Okay? Out of sight, out of mind. Have you heard of that? So put your mobiles aside. If someone's phone does ring and they pick it up in the middle of the room and everybody can hear, because something else people don't realise is my camera there has got a microphone on it. So even if you think you are whispering to your husband or wife who's telling you to come home, the camera picks it up and it gets recorded and everybody knows your business. Okay? So be very, very careful. What do you do with that person who then picks up the phone and then even goes in the corner, yeah, I'll be home in a minute, we're doing this now, we're doing that now. What do you do to that person? You give them a stink look. Okay? A stink look is...
Yeah.
Or... Okay, or any other faces you can make? Have you got one? Yeah, that's a good one. Glasses on the edge.
Would you give them the side eye?
Yeah, oh, you've got this. You have to learn all these things, because we're talking about audience management. You look them straight in the eye. You pause your speech so everybody looks that way. And that will be the end of them. Shame them up. Okay? So, but there's a way of doing it, isn't it? Okay? We're not having a joke. But you look at them, stare at them, give them a stink look. Okay? Or roll your eyes. But you've got to get the message across somehow. Okay? Please put your mobiles on silent, everybody. You don't want to see my stink look. You will not like it. Okay? Right. I've seen this a lot during COVID. Should we speak with our masks on? No. That is a big, fat no. Big, fat no. You are not, should not have your mask on. You're going to be all muffled up, aren't you? Okay? And you do need a loudspeaker. Okay? I've got my loudspeaker on today, so everybody can hear me. There's no pardons. Okay? You need to stand face to face with your audience. Loud, strong, clear voice with authority, no mumbling. Okay? On the whole, ladies are all right at this because their speech skills naturally are there because of bringing up children. We have got very good conversational speech skills. Okay? Brothers, on the other hand, are made a little bit different. Okay? So their communication skills are a little bit less. This is well known. I can give you terms to prove it. Okay? So you need to learn. Speak clearly. So your mouth moves. No mumbling. Okay? This includes if you're teaching children as well. And no face masks. Even if you have got a loudspeaker, you still need to speak loud. You need to exert your voice. Okay? Now, say for example, this is something actually which Brother Barrett did do quite well today. You stop at the full stops. So, comma. If there's a comma in your speech, it's 1 second stop. Okay? If it's a full stop, 2 seconds. If it's a paragraph change, 3 seconds you need to wait. Okay? And if it's a topic change, 4 seconds. This is generally the rule. What can you do with that 1 second or 2 seconds? What should you do while you're reading your speech? Brother Tariq, I'm going to ask you.
Read the next few words while you're waiting.
No, because you're not reading out loud, are you? So what have I asked you to do while you're reading, when the full stop comes, what have I taught you to do?
Eye contact.
Look up, eye contact. Smile. Okay? You've got to engage with the audience. You've got to engage with the audience and make contact with them. Okay? So look up when it's these periods and smile. Okay? Smiling is sunnah. Have a sense of humor in your talks. Okay? If you have a sense of humour, people like you better. And even religious talks, so many people said to me, I like the light-heartedness you put into the religious talks. Okay? Children like their teacher to smile as well. And you need to show energy and passion, enthusiasm when you talk, which makes you then listen to that person. And another one is showing emotion. Now, I have cried on a few of my talks, and I've been upset about it after that. Why did I cry? And people have said to me, no, you're human, and we engage with you better, we relate to you better. So if it's a sad topic, you go sad. If it's happy, you go happy. Show your emotion. No monotone voices when you are doing talks. Okay? Really, really important. And if you need to cry, cry. It's fine. It's absolutely fine to cry. And if you feel like laughing, you've cracked a joke, laugh. Your whole audience will laugh as well. Okay? I've already said to use your hands because they are a very good way of expressing, but do not put your hands over your mouth. I know so many men who put their hands in front of their mouth while they're talking. You just think, God, stop mumbling. Okay? Right. I'm going to put a poem up now, and I'm going to ask somebody from the audience to read the first paragraph out using all the techniques I've showed you so far. Okay? It's a poem, and the end words are rhyming. There's your clue as well. Okay? And you have to use your body language, your voice, everything. So here is my poem, which goes down a treat in all public events. And let's see who has got the confidence now in using some of the things I've implemented. Rosina? Yes? Yes? Yeah, just wait a second, because I just want to introduce Rosina. Is one of my oldest students from the mosque. And she actually does acting and things, don't you? Yes? She does drama and acting. She's a real artist. And this is why I chose her. So you will be quite good at this. And she's actually, you came in one of the shows, didn't you? The Eid Around the World show in the mosque as well. Yes. Right. Stand up. Good. Yep, good. She's done the deep breaths. Well done. She's breathed, well done.
Every morning on every news flash, I hear the sorrow of the world.
Right, stop there. The comma was there. Okay? So, every morning on every news flash, I hear the sorrow of the world. That's how you do it. Okay? So, because we're here to learn. A little bit of emotion, pause at the commas. Okay? So, let me do that again. Our world, one world. That's the bit we didn't do. Our world, one world. Do the actions. Every morning on every news flash, look up and smile. I hear the sorrow of the world. Okay, next. Copy. No, do everybody's now.
Oh. Everybody's lost and scared, trying to make sense of it all.
Good, right, we need to slow down, that's far too fast. Everybody's lost and scared, trying to make sense of it all. Okay, did you want to do a line? No. Okay, did you see my tone? Okay, that makes everybody want to listen, doesn't it? Okay. It wakes you up. Good.
You know your poem. That's the first time.
I can do a different poem when I'm No, that's not true. That's not true, because you can still use everything I've taught you. Okay? Now you're not allowed to do that to speaker, by the way. That's being a very bad person in the audience. Exactly. She's not allowed to back you up. Right, we're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to undermine the speaker no matter what. You can have a word with them afterwards, but not in front of everybody. Right, go on next.
And as I travel...
Right, slow down. And
as I travel to and fro...
Right, stop. Look at the audience and smile. Okay. Yep.
So many sad faces pass me by.
Okay, stop. Right. And as I travel to and fro, so many sad faces pass me by. So you say the word sad in a sad voice. This is expression. This is what makes people engage with you and listen to you. I've just recognized you as well. Brother Sharif.
Yes, hello.
Oh my gosh, after how many years have I met you again? Yes, alhamdulillah. Okay, yes, right, next.
I see lonely hearts, living empty, life just awaiting their time.
Good. I see lonely hearts, living empty lives, just awaiting their time. Good. One more last sentence.
As they drone their way through day and night.
As they drone their way through day and night. Okay? That is just an example. Well done. Okay? So that is an example of a 10-minute speech. Okay? Those are the steps. At the beginning you say, I won't do it. Then it's, I can't do it. I want to do it. How do I do it? I'm going to try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. And yes, I did it. Okay? This is what you need to have in your mind when you are nervous. These are all tactics really to help you. Okay? So you did manage to do it. So well done, Razina. And to have the guts to stand up and do that as well is absolutely amazing. Okay? So all of that is really for a speech that is less than 10 minutes. Right, now we're going to move on to longer presentations. This is where there is a lot more work needed. Like a presentation you may have to do through the NHS, or you may have to do one to government through your school, that kind of stuff. So the first thing you need to do is to tell people, now I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then we are going to do this. Okay? So, first, I'm going to do a presentation to show you how we do it. We are then going to do some interactive work to work out what types of audience there may be that we need to cater for, during which we will have our break and have drinks and crisps. And then at the end, I'm going to call people forward to rehearse their presentations.
Sorry, can I just ask, I hear what you're saying about the body language, I hear what you're saying about looking and engaging with the audience. If you, and obviously about the pauses, but if you are not a very confident person and you're not happy to do it, and you're just about holding your own,
Yes.
is there, I don't know, is there a protocol where you can just concentrate on one spot on the wall as long as you're facing the right
Yes.
direction?
I'm coming to that now.
Oh,
Okay, so what I covered just now was a 10-minute speech where you can't do that. You have to stand and you have to talk, okay? But what you're talking about is what I'm coming to next, where you won't have to do that. That's absolutely fine, where there'll be a presentation and you'll be focusing on your notes and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that next. Right. So you need to explain to the audience, they need to know, there may be somebody who's anxious in the audience who doesn't know, oh my God, what are you going to do next? You need to explain with longer presentations, we're going to do this, and then this, and then this. Okay? And then we're going to have questions and answers at the end. Okay? So if you've got a burning question to do with what I'm doing right at that minute, that's fine. But general questions, we're going to have a big question and answer session at the end. Okay? Now, if it is a very short presentation, okay, all you need to do is have a very simple background with just very simple writing. So I would recommend that for up to 15 to 20 minutes only is that kind of presentation. Okay? Always have your company name logo at the top as well, your school or whichever organisation you are speaking from, because it shows professionalism. And always have your signature there on your slides if they are copyrighted. Okay? And have a notes page on your PowerPoint which you can bring up here. So I can see a little bit of notes here. You must not have too much on your PowerPoint, otherwise you are not allowed to read hundreds and hundreds of words on your PowerPoint. Have minimum stuff on your PowerPoint. The rest of the stuff needs to be in your notes, but your notes need to be minimum as well, because you don't want to sit there just reading out your notes. Okay? So if you watch my PowerPoint presentation lecture that I did, that will give you more ideas, because today we're going to talk about the public speaking part. But it is on my YouTube channel. I may send a link out later to Eventbrite to everybody. Okay? Right. If your presentation is longer than 20 minutes, this is what is going to happen to everybody in your audience. You're going to end up looking out at the horrible weather, the wind and the rain. So what we need to do is we need to evaluate all the different learning styles that are in the audience. Okay? Some people are left-brained if they are right-handed mainly, and some people are right-brained if they are left-handed. Okay? And we are going to have a look at people who are more academic. If they are left-brained, they are more academic usually. Writing, language skills, maths, logic, speech. And if they are right-brained, they will be more creative. We need to keep this in our minds, that our audience may not be so academic and may be creative. And we are going to tailor our presentation according to the different learning styles. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we are going to look through what we are, left or right brain, which will give you an idea. Hey Giles, if I can call you to the front to come and get your one quickly, because your one's got your name on it. He was super enthusiastic, he started doing his at home. That's my husband, by the way, just in case you're thinking, why am I not calling him forever? Khadija, your one's here as well. Come forward quickly. Okay. Right, and the others I will give out. So if we can quickly give these out. Right. If you can, turn to the next page after the brain and start working out whether you are left or right brain. Now is the time, everybody, for you to have your break if you want tea and coffee and crisps and things. So, Khadija, if I can ask you to open up the crisp boxes, please. Okay, so you need to write A or B and work out what you are yourself. Okay, so fun fact. So basically, you need to score your left-right brain test, add the number of A responses and write the sum here. Okay, add the number of B responses and write the sum there. If you have more A responses than B responses, then you are left brain dominant. This means you are very rational, analyze people and situations, usually favour the subjects maths and science, are methodical, are a sequential thinker, use logical reasoning, like to work with things that can be seen or touched. Now, have you noticed that I am reading through each of the words in case there is some division impaired in the audience? So when I do this, I'm also going to incorporate any disabilities in the audience as well. If you have B responses, more B responses than A, you are right brain dominant. This means you are very creative, are usually emotional, like to be different from others, handle situations easily, like to think abstractly, enjoy the arts, music, art, drama, and are a very good thinker. Okay? Who can tell me if they were right-brained?
May I share?
Yeah?
10%, 100% right brain.
Right. Are you left-handed?
Yes.
Right.
That was 0
Brilliant. Excellent. If you are right-brained, you're more likely to be left-handed. You're left-handed, aren't you? You're right-handed. Is it your brother that's left-handed? Okay. You're left-handed. So were you more right-brained?
No, I wasn't. I was really surprised.
Okay.
Left brain.
Okay, now that's interesting. But you must have had traits on the right as well?
Not many.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you left-handed Naturally, you're definitely left-handed, and it's genetic in your family.
Yeah, there are some.
Right, that's very interesting. Aisha?
And right-handed, yeah, and I've done 3 years.
So, you're right-handed, but were you left-brained?
Right-handed and I got ODB.
Okay, just tell me, were you left-brained or right-brained?
Right brain.
So you're right-handed, but you're right-brained.
And I work with maths.
Okay. Now that's interesting because somewhere along the lines you should have maybe have been left-handed and you may have been forced to be right-handed. That happens a lot in cultures. Or it could be you're just gifted and talented in both areas.
It's computations were hard, which you say, the most between the two.
Yes. Some of you will be 50% on each, it means you're gifted and talented, okay? But on the whole, this is how you work out then how you have to respond to your audience, okay? Fun facts about your side: the right side of your body is controlled by the left side of your brain. The left side of your body is controlled by the right side of your brain. Most people are left brain dominant, even people who are left-handed writers. The left side of your brain controls speech, reading, writing, and maths. The right side deals with spatial relationships, abstractions, and your feelings. Okay? Right, let's move on. This is just a little bit for you to read about the difference between right and left brain thinking. Right brain or creative thinkers gather information by feelings and intuition. This is retained by using images and patterns and are able to visualize the whole idea as we gather our research. Now, why am I covering all of this? When you do your presentations, you need to keep all of this in mind, okay? Because you need to engage with everybody in your audience, not just selected people. The thought processes appear illogical and lingering because they're emotional, intuitive, abstract, and laterally connected. Analysis of this information or problem solving often involves free association, and while the solutions may be quite innovative, the route travelled to reach this conclusion would be impossible for a more rational left brain thinker to follow. Visual thinkers do not use a step-by-step process to gather information, rather it is visually gathered all at once, which makes organisation of this information and verbalising the accumulated data either in written or verbal form difficult. Right brain thinkers are best able to express themselves using art, music or dance. Okay? Now I've used different colours. This breaks up your presentation into different colour paragraphs, and it's easier for someone who's visually impaired to look at it, or somebody who's dyslexic as well. Left brain or critical thinkers collect information using logic and sense. This information is retained using words, numbers and symbols. Unlike right brain thinkers who see the whole concept, left brain thinkers see only parts of the whole idea that guides them in their logical, step-by-step gathering of information. Their brain processes are deductive, rational, concrete, and analytically connected. Left brain thinkers express themselves with concise words, numerical and written formulas, and technological systems. This is definitely something for you to study when you get home, because we can't cover in detail here. But it's based on this then that you've got to incorporate everything into your presentations or your way of teaching. Modern scientists know that your left brain is your verbal and rational brain, while your right brain is your non-verbal and intuitive brain. We require special functions from both sides of our brains to accomplish most tasks in our daily lives. These are some non-verbal tasks such as drawing, painting, dancing, and music, in which our right brain excels, and you'd be best to show your left brain functions to prevent interference by your rational side. While most people can be categorized as left or right brain thinkers, there are exercises that can help you develop and nurture your intuitive side. So in order to engage everybody, you need to use bits of both. Okay? Now, the next part is really important because it gets more deeper. It's not just the fact whether you're left or right brained. All of us here have got different learning channels. Either we learn visually, which means we can see it, we see and we learn better, or we are auditory, but we hear and we learn that way, or kinesthetic, we learn by doing things. Okay? So with the longer talks, what you need to do is you need to keep all of the audience engaged, and you need to try to use all three of these learning styles to engage the audience in longer periods of time. Okay? Because of the differences in our brains, we all learn in different ways. And WAC is what is the actual acronym that we use there. Okay, what do you think is the highest category usually in most classes? Visualism. Can anybody guess what kind of learner I am? Visual. I'm visual. Okay. Now, PowerPoint is the best way to deliver talks, and I'm going to show you how in a minute, because you use all three things in there you can use. And we'll cover that in a minute. But first, you are going to find out what kind of learner you are. So if you turn onto this page, and 5 almost always, 4 is often, 3 is sometimes, 2 is really almost never. So those are the numbers. Is that right, how you do it? Is that how you do yours? Yeah? Because you tried it already, didn't you? So those are the numbers. So we need a bit of maths here. Then we need to add them up. And then you need to pop your number above the 60. Okay? And I will then give you a formula at the end, which will make you look at the percentages. There's a specific way in trying to work it all out. Okay? Good, you're all engaging, so that's good. You're all listening, doing the work. Brilliant. So I may be a visual learner, but I use all three of those techniques when I deliver lessons to adults as well as children. Okay, you should all be going on to the auditory now. And as I'm delivering, I'm giving you boundaries. Again, time boundaries are very, very important. Time limits. Okay. Are you all on kinesthetic now?
Yeah.
Good. Once you've done that, then there is a formula that we need to do to get our profile, which I will show you in a minute. Okay, have you got your scores? Okay. What I want you to do now is all three of your individual scores, can you add them up, please? So say it's 47 and 50s, whatever, and 20, whatever. Can you add them up and get me a number, please? Add up your individual scores to get your total individual score. Is everyone okay? You all understand what you're doing, yes? Okay, right. So you should now have an individual score for each of these. You should now also have a total individual score of all three of your individual scores. You add them up. Have you got that? Okay. So for each of these, you get your individual score. You divide it by your total individual score, and then you multiply by 100. Yeah? And that will give you 3 percentages there. All should add up to 100. I'm going to put this formula back up on the wall. So this is the formula. Your individual score for each of the categories divided by the total individual score, which you added up all three. Then you multiply it by 100, and that will give you 3 of those, and that should all add up to 100, shouldn't it? That will give you the exact percentages of how you learn. Okay?
Dividing the topic. Sorry, I'm not with maths.
Okay. Your individual score divided by the total individual score. I couldn't find a divide symbol on this keyboard. Slash is divide. Okay? Listen, everybody. Are we listening? Individual score divided by your total individual score, then multiply it by 100, and then write all three here, all three should add up to 100. That will give you your exact profile, individual profile, on how you learn. Are you okay? Do you need any help? Yes.
What's the individual score and what's the total?
Right, the individual score is what you got here out of 60. Then you divide by the total individual score, the total. Say there's 45 and 50 and a 45, all of them. Okay?
So you know we got 37 out of 60, we're not doing anything with that.
That's the 37, which is your individual score. 37 divided by, what's your full one?
116.
116 times 100.
Which gives you 32.
So that's your 32 for visual, write it there, and then you do the next one and then the next one. Okay? That will give you your whole profile on how you learn. This is so important for you all. So what are yours? Have you done your three? What are they? Tell me your visual.
36.2. Okay, mine is, I'm auditory.
No, tell me what your visual is first. Let's do it one at a time.
32.
So 32 is visual, auditory is
36.
36,
Kinesthetic,
32. So what's your highest?
32. Auditory.
Auditory, but it's only 36, so that's not much. Really, you are all three.
Yeah.
If you look at your scores, they're a third and a third and a third.
Yeah.
So you are all three. You learn by looking and listening and doing things as well. That's why you do so well in my PowerPoints, in my lectures. Okay? Right, anybody else want to share with me their scores? Yes? Okay, Rosina, did you want to share us your scores? Okay, let's listen carefully. So Rosina got 28% for visual, which is quite low.
32%
Right, 32 auditory is a lot higher.
and 40% on kinesthetic.
Right, 40% kinesthetic, so that's, your main is kinesthetic, you like doing things. You learn better by doing things. Yes? Very interesting. Anybody else want to share us their scores?
I'm definitely visual.
Your visual, that's why you engage so well with my PowerPoints. Brother Derek, have you sorted yours?
I've sorted my numbers out, I've got my
Yeah,
visual 43%,
that's good.
auditory 29%,
Right,
and kinesthetic 27%.
right.
They are
So you're
definitely
definitely visual, and your auditory and kinesthetic is similar.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Right, we've got to move on. Okay, so now you've seen how many different variety there is in the whole class. Okay, so now with each one we are now you're going to tell me ideas when you do your talks. How can we first of all engage visual learners? What can we do in our talks to engage visual learners? Put your hands up, please. Rabia.
Visual prompts and using your hands.
I like it. Brilliant answer. Visual prompts. Everybody sees me. I always have my whole house with me. Look at this and look at this and look at this. I've got something else to show you all. A cordless mic is best, so you can walk around and move around. And this is a pocket which you pin inside your jacket, and then you can put your microphone inside. If you haven't got a pocket, I've got a pocket. Okay? So there's something I showed you. Right, I really like that answer. Excellent answer. Even if it's an adult talk, have things to show people. Okay? Right, what else is visual? What else can I show? Pooja?
Colors. Colors.
Colours. Lovely answer. All my slides are bright. Everything's bright, isn't it? Eye-catching. What if there's somebody colourblind out there? Okay? You need bright colours to engage everybody. Okay? You can do this even with professional things. We're going to do all that in a minute when we make our presentations. Okay? Right. Good. Anything else? What else do I always show in my talks? I don't have just slides, do I?
Photos.
No.
Videos.
Videos. Good. Videos.
Vaccines are celebrated for their part in fighting disease. Let's look at how they work. Your immune system is a complex army of millions of cells.
Right. Videos
Vaccines
are really, really good to put inside your PowerPoints, okay? Because they sort of bring to life what you've been trying to say. they try and sort of give your projects a bit of life and sort of reinforce in a way what you have been talking about. Okay? So say this is a talk I did on vaccines, and then I put the video up, and people straight away knew, you know what, she didn't just make it up, the video's showing it. Okay? And it's visual, animations, moving pictures engages the audience. How many people saw my moving pictures? I have moving pictures in my PowerPoints which help to engage the audience. Okay? Now, I was the first one to use, I was the first one, I can honestly say, when it came to Islam, to start using PowerPoints and animations in my videos and sounds and all the rest. I've still yet to come across an imam, for example, who may use this way of teaching. Okay? Colours are very, very important. Some people may say, well, you know what, charts and things, how can I make that coloured? But you can. So this is actually my, when I was at school and I did a talk to governors, and what I did was I highlighted the colours of the big numbers, and you can make them into pie charts and bar charts, which are better visually, okay? Tables, better visually, okay? These are the kinds of things. Okay, what else? What about, let's move on. Is there any more ideas with visual?
Yeah, you can engage the audience to participate.
No, we're still on visual. That's kinesthetic. We're still on visual. What else can you do visually? Anything else? Yes?
As you're talking about something, could you get them to draw the story or draw something, so
Yes.
that's kind of visual?
That's good, yeah. So when we teach children, we tell them to draw pictures, a story picture, and things like that. You can do that, definitely. So this will include some of your artists in the audience, or people who are left-handed, because they're more artistic, do you see? You have to incorporate them in. Okay, good. Right, shall we move on to sound? Auditory learners. You are quite auditory. What can we have? Now, me talking is auditory as well, okay? But I'm using visuals with it as well. What else can we do to engage my audience using auditory? Yes.
Could you play some music?
Good, or sounds. Okay, brilliant answer there. It makes you straight away look at the picture. Oh, where did that noise come from? Okay, you can use noises for humour. I don't know if you were here when I did the hello picture and everybody started laughing. Were you here then? When he went, hello! And everybody started laughing, so I used sound for that. Music you mentioned. Music is a really good one, and we can relate that to Islam with the Quran. Okay, so here is a bit of the call to prayer. With a video as well, and visuals, all three. Singing, which was a really good one. We can use religious songs. This is a nasheed that the children are playing that I had smack in the middle of one of my talks. And when I did Eid Around the World, which some of you may remember in the mosque, I had children dressing up, which was the visual, and then they sang at the end in nasheed. And that engages all the auditory learners who are not looking. Auditory learners don't look. They may close their eyes and listen. Okay, so you need something for them to listen to as well. Okay, right. Anything else before we move on to kinesthetic? No? Okay. Verses of the Quran. You can put Quran on your iPhone for the children to listen to and things like that. Okay. When I do my talks, Hujjah, I put Quranic verses up, don't I? But the Arabic isn't just there, the Quranic verse is there as well. Okay? If you want to know how to do all of this, look at my PowerPoint presentation that I did. I'll send a link out. Right, let's go on to kinesthetic. What can we do to engage the audience? I engaged you. I made you stand up and you had to do the poem, didn't you? There was an example. Me giving you worksheets, you're doing things. You've learned so much today, haven't you, by doing, okay? You can call people to the front to dress up. I mean, Linda knows about this one because she dressed up in a hijab the other day. She came to the front. I made everybody come to the front and wear imam hats and hijabs, and they loved it. And my husband, for the first time, which he's never done before, did wear his hat as well. And then afterwards he said, when we got home, he said, I really enjoyed that. So he said it was really interactive. He said, your talk was the longest, but it was the most interactive. Yes?
As role play, then we can get
Role play. Yes, yes, role play. Okay? And I love that word role play. I think Linda's doing really well. Even within Islam, if you look at doing wudu, reading salah, get the people to come forward and do it with you. Okay? And this term is a very important one. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. Okay? And that is so important. You involve people and they learn. And I'm sure you've all learned those today, so I'm involved with them. Okay? What else can we do? Come on, put your thinking hats on. What else can we do? Me asking you questions is kinesthetic, by the way, as well. I'm asking you, I'm involving you, I'm interacting with you. What else can you do? Oh, brilliant answer. You got that right at the right time. So games, any types of games, even within Islam. You can have Quran challenge, Hadith challenge. When you do icebreakers before professional PowerPoints, they're like games, aren't they? Where you face each other and talk to each other, or think of a number and things like that. Icebreakers. It makes learning fun. Okay? Right. As well as left brain, right brain, and your 3 types of learners, you need to think of anybody who may have special needs in the audience. Okay? In adults, these special needs are hidden, but they are there. They are, at least 50% of an audience may have autism, or may have dyslexia, or may have ADHD. Think of within school. It's the same children that grow up to be adults. Okay? So you need to try and engage them as well. And there are so many different ways. You need to simplify the information you're giving to them. I talk about so many science topics and people understand them straight away. I talk about religion and people understand them straight away because I simplify the language, I simplify everything, even the science stuff as well, okay? Because even an audience that's really academic, they want to learn quite easily. They don't have the brain power to understand all the terms. So if you want to engage everybody, use simple language, yes.
For kinesthetic, you can make small groups like this
Yes,
class.
you
You
can.
can divide like for each group.
Yes.
And they can learn a lot.
I'm
You
going
can
to
give
do
them
that now in a minute. You're all going to get into little groups, okay? I'm going to put you all into little groups of Islamic talks, professional talks, NHS, teaching talks for schools, and we're going to do that in a minute. So well done for that. Excellent answer there. Right, so you break up the information. With a special needs person, they cannot have huge amounts of writing on the page. You do little bits at a time. Okay? So first he's sleeping, then he hears a bang, then he goes into the stress mode, and then his heart starts thumping, and then he becomes Superman. Okay? So you're breaking up the information because somebody who's got any kind of special need, their processing will be slower. They can't process all the information. Break your stuff up into tiny little chunks and simplify the information. Okay? The other thing you can do is when you put your sheets up, lots of writing, do every other colour a different colour, do every other sentence a different colour, so a dyslexic can focus on the writing better. And Comic Sans is the best handwriting for anybody who's got any special need, and for anybody, to be honest. Big writing, bold writing, okay? And every other is a different colour as well, okay? Right, now we are ready for our presentation, because we are dealing now with, we know how, all the kinds of things to put in, okay? So, my learning objective is, I've been asked to do a health talk on food linked to our religion with the NHS. The NHS have invited me and said, your Asian people are not healthy, you eat lots of sugar and fat. And we want you to educate us on a talk where you tell us, how did your prophet eat? Yeah? What is it in your religion to eat? Okay? So that is my health talk on food linked to our religion. And you have to make this talk. Okay? The very first thing is, it needs to have a clear beginning and a middle and end. Clear order. Okay? So what would you do for your introduction? Any ideas? You've got to get up here.
Name and organization.
Pardon?
Name and organization.
Okay, good. Well done. Who invited you? Brilliant answer. Who invited me? Am I just a nobody that I just came out of nowhere? Who invited me? Christine invited me through the NHS, okay, to give a talk on health. Why? Because our people are eating too much sugar and fat, they're not healthy, and Christine wanted to find out, is our diet supposed to be healthy according to our religion? Yes? I hope you don't mind me using your, your name. Okay, it's just that you linked up with what I've already done. Okay? Why were you invited to do this talk? Okay? And with that, you need to put your expertise on the topic. Why you? Okay? Because I teach Islam. I work in a mosque, I teach children, I'm an alima, I'm a scholar, I know about the religion, what the religion says on food. That's why I have been invited to give you a talk. Okay? Right. Anything else? In the introduction? Everybody, I want everybody to participate here. Any of the brothers? Yes? Brother Sharif?
Something about food, just you are what you eat and stuff, and just say different aspects of other outlooks on food and
Yeah, good, good. Why you think this topic is important comes along those lines. You are doing brilliantly, all of you. Well done. You are really engaging well. Excellent. Excellent answers there. So why you think that topic is important, okay? Right, okay, right, auditory first. What auditory can you put in your talk that you're going to give on this topic? Anybody?
Ask questions.
Good, ask questions from the audience, like I have been doing continuously. Anything else? Actually I haven't come across that slide yet. I had munching noises in here. Didn't I have that for the break time? Did I have that? No, I don't think that slide's come yet. Yeah, I have in the past, munching noises. So when you put the food up, say it's juice, you can hear someone pouring the juice. Or you can hear somebody eating it. Yeah? So lecture talk with strong, loud, clear voice. I'm auditory at the moment because there's nothing to look at there, is there? It's boring up there. You're just listening to my voice. Okay? Chronic recitation of ayahs in the Quran which are relevant to the topic. That's a good one. So say Christine's organization is full of non-Muslims. They want to know what's in our religion. Well, here you go. This is what's in the Quran and you can hear it. Okay? Other food sounds within the PowerPoint, which Nasreen mentioned. Anything else for auditory?
talking about Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad.
Yes, so you can quote hadiths. Yes.
And the Quran verses should be,
Pardon?
and the Quran verses should be recite the
Yes.
best, people who recite the best. Take the consultation of the people.
Yes, so if you're an imam or you are well versed in Quran, you can do it yourself. It's better to be live. If you can do it, even better, okay? But if you can't, you can put a video on like the adhan I put up, because I'm a woman, I can't recite Quran. So Hujja, you must have known, I put on Quranic recitation from the back. Men always. Or Brother Tariq, yes, why do you think we got him involved? Into the lecture room. We always get him. Why? Has anybody ever realised? Why do we get him to do that bit? Because I can't recite the Quran as a woman, so I get him to do it. But he likes doing it, it raises his confidence as well. So people must have noticed, how comes every lecture she's got him recite the Quran? There's a reason, isn't there? Always a reason behind everything. Right, let's move on to visual, everybody. Yes, Linda, did you have
I
one?
was just going to say, you could have a couple of people discussing a recipe or something that could be a visual as well.
Yes.
An auditory one, so that people hear what's going into a particular dish or something.
Yes, for example, the Prophet used to have a drink called nabis, and it's made out of dates, and people have started to make it nowadays. So you could have a little session where people are discussing how you make it. These are all ideas, but you're going to do this in a minute for your own presentations. I'm giving you ideas. Right, visual now, everybody. Priscilla, have you got a visual there? Have you got a visual? What are we doing now? Pictures, PowerPoint, slides. Okay, so I'm using a PowerPoint for visual. So we've got something to look at. Okay, with minimum information on it. Okay, anything else?
Artifacts.
Good, excellent answer. Here you go, have a look at some dates. Here you go, have a look at some olives. In fact, you did a talk once, didn't you? And you brought all the honey and the bandages and all that. Do you remember? You bought half the spots, you know. You bought black seeds, honey, you bought dates, you bought a jar of honey. Yeah, I remember that talk really well. Do you know why I remember it? Because you bought all those things. And then not only that, afterwards you said you can keep them all. So it was extra fun. We thought, oh wow, we can take the jar of honey. And I remember you telling us about the bandages, the honey bandages were £30 or something in the pharmacy. Dressings that you bought as well.
The Russian army uses them routinely in wounds.
So see, I don't remember the talk, but I remember that bit. Do you see? So this is how you engage the audience. So I like that answer. Okay, the other one is you use animated GIFs. Like you just saw the bird flying. I use animated GIFs a lot. I love them. It really draws the attention to the PowerPoint. Okay, you use short videos within the PowerPoint, which I said to you already. You can do a short video on all the 7 foods the Prophet ate. Okay, show pictures from a book as well. Some people say, no, we can't do PowerPoints. They're not that IT inclined, but you can use a book and show pictures, can't you? Yeah, pictures of foods. And then this is Brother Tariq's part. You show the foods, honey, dates, flax seeds. You actually show them and people can feel them and smell them and touch them. There's more senses you're using in the audience. You're engaging them through their senses. Their sense of smell and taste as well. Okay? Right. And then give something to take away. So Brother Tariq gave away dates. Okay, or you can give away notes. I'm giving you notes to take away with you today, so you'll remember. Okay, leaflets. When I do Islamic talks, I always have leaflets there, ones on particular topics, and I say, here you go, take some of these leaflets, or take some Qurans with you back. And when they take away something with them, they remember it. Okay, right. Kinesthetic now. Let's move on to kinesthetic. Who can tell me?
Taste the food.
Good. So doing something like tasting it. Good. Very, very good ideas here. Well done. Rabia?
You know, you can involve the audience by doing things like stand up, sit down if you've got like, you know, ask a question, do you agree with something, everyone stand up. If you don't,
yes, good. That's really good. I like that one a lot. There'll be a lot of shuffling around, but it's good. It's like I said, put your hand up. You're doing something. Yeah? Well done. Okay, any more before I show you my answers? Any more?
The kinesthetic, teaching like revert Muslims how to do wudu. So
Yes.
they can remember it.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we're doing, yes, so I gave you that example, but it won't be relevant to this food one. We're doing, remember what is our presentation? Our learning objective health talk on food linked to our religion at the NHS with Kristen.
Get them to cook or make something.
Yes.
So if you're going to make that drink, the profit.
Yeah, you could. That's easy, very easy, isn't it? You just need dates and you need water and a spoon. Yeah, and cement it overnight. And they can make it in a jar and take the jars, empty jam jars, Priscilla, jam jars. Take the jam jars with them. Okay, yes.
You can give the plants of good foods to take with them at home. And
Yes.
just look after them and grow them at home.
Yes, give them a box of dates to take home as well. Yes, Kuja?
You can get them to touch, to feel the texture of the food.
Yes, we mentioned that. So you're using all your senses. Looking, smelling, tasting, touching, all of those senses. Right, let's have a look at my answers. Ask the audience questions as you talk. Get audience to write foods down which they think are linked with the religion. There's one, a new one there. Get audience to break into small groups to discuss things which they think are linked with the religion and write their ideas on a flip chart. That's exactly what you said. You can actually give your audience lots of these whiteboards. You know, like in school, there are little whiteboards with pens. You can give those out. Or did you know you can make homemade ones by laminating paper as well? You can laminate paper and you give out the pens. It's really easy. Or you can have a couple of flip charts and you can do that. Oops. Right, okay. Right, do you think you are all now ready to do your own lesson? Okay, so in there you will also put in special needs as well. Okay, this one is just another one. Right, these are your ideas. On your booklets you've got so many ideas of visual and auditory and kinesthetic, which will help you to make a brilliant talk. Okay? Right. Put your hand up if you're a teacher. Right. Linda, Rabia, you and Nasrin, if you can all go at the back where Rabia is. Okay? And I'm talking about not Islamic teacher. Not Islamic teacher. Okay? Put your hand up if you want to teach Islam. Okay. If you can all move over there and anybody else join them there. Okay? Right. Put your hand up if you're from a profession. Brother Tariq is and Ijaz is. And you are as well from the NHS. Is there anybody else here who's from a profession?
I'll put myself in.
Okay, so Ijaz, Brother Tariq and Christine, can you all go at the back there, please, to make your talk? Or did you want to go with the professionals? I think go with your dad with the professionals.
Could be just practicing a presentation, maybe about 20 minutes or so. You have to go, most of it's been done. This is just a practice time.
Rosina, I mean, how capacity are you here? What did you want to teach in the future? Are you here to teach Islam?
Yes, inshallah.
Okay, so you three can work together. Are the three sisters there doing Islam, aren't you? Where's Right, if you three can turn around then and work with the sisters there. Okay, this is for the professionals, so you're going to do maybe a medical or an NHS one. Yes? Christine, you can sort of guide them on why you're here. Okay, everybody, can we just turn to this sheet which is just after your, when you worked out your percentages. Your learning objective is going to be what presentation you're planning to do. Okay? Everybody please go to this sheet. Your introduction's there, what you're going to use auditory, what visual, what kinesthetic, what written activity you're going to do, and also can you add in any SEND provision as well. Special needs provision needs to go on there as well. Okay? Right. You have got 15 minutes maximum to get your presentation so brilliantly done that you'll come to the front and you'll deliver it. Okay? You'll put your ideas in for one person. Right, get your skates on. Now you do have guidelines with your, guidelines, 3 pages of things to help you to put in under kinesthetic, auditory and visual.
I think you're...
It's a very big group here.
Come to collect
as you're talking, you can say, this is it, that's the way it starts. In the evening, that's what we do, and then in the afternoon, that's what we do. Right? Show the pictures. Yeah? Go like that. Show the pictures and explain. So everybody is exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, if we can stop now, and if everyone can face me. Okay, if we can all listen now, please. Who can now share with me what presentation? Talk to me about what they've done for their presentation. Is there anybody? Which group would like to share their ideas with me? Anybody? Put up your hands up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We start.
Yes.
We're talking about health and well-being.
Okay, let me give you a microphone.
Yeah.
Yes, if you want to. If you feel confident enough. Siddra's been so inspired, she's confident to speak and stand. Yeah, you can do it now. Just talk us through it, that's all.
Hello, my name is Sidra Khan, and I'm a keen person on health and well-being, believing that exercise can actually cure anything you have. And I truly believe that, because I do it all the time. I've been invited here today by Sidra Naeem to do a talk on health and well-being. Can I ask my colleagues, what do you do, Shahina, for your health and well-being on a daily basis?
I go for a walk about half an hour a day.
Yeah, that's good.
And I do yoga.
Yeah, and Uzina?
I go swimming every day.
You go swimming, that's very good. And
I try to eat healthy food.
no exercise. Do you do any?
I don't do that much exercise.
Okay. Exercise is very... Anybody in the audience would like to tell us what they do? To exercise? No?
I do yoga.
Very good. Islamically, you're not meant to say yoga, you'd say stretches.
I was just about to do this to you, but I didn't. Not allowed.
I do stretches. Twice a week I do that. So, did you know that Asian people as a whole do very little exercise? And that's why heart disease and diabetes are on the increase in the Asian community. And did you also know that 5 to 10 minutes brisk walking, just to increase your heart rate a little bit, is better than going to the gym twice a week? And that's a proven fact. I can't give you the source of that right now, but I've heard it many times on the TV. A brisk walking, round the block 2 times, visual.
She's doing brilliantly, we mustn't laugh.
What do you think, what type of lifestyle do you think make people obese? Can anybody in the audience say?
Sitting in front of the television.
Sitting in front of the TV? Yeah. Anyone else? Eating fried foods.
Actually, let's correct that, eating out on the whole.
Eating out.
Yeah.
Processed food is full of all additives you're not aware of. Fried food, which is typical of the Asian community. Fried food, the samosas, the pakoras, that sort of thing. And did you know that by doing exercises daily, it raises endorphins in your blood that help with mental health? And it helps you feel happy, it helps you feel lively. I like to prove that because that happened to me during the lockdown when we were all indoors and couldn't go out. Exercise was the thing that helped me. I went walking a lot.
Yes, yes.
And here on the board we shared some photos of obese people, and that 50% almost of people who are obese will suffer from diabetes and heart disease. And anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
This is excellent. Brother Derek, you had a question.
Can too much exercise kill you? Because footballers and squash players can drop dead.
Yes, I agree. Too much exercise is not good.
Okay.
I exercise 3 times a week.
Right.
So you have to create a balance. Yeah. With the right food and the exercise. Yes. Okay?
Brilliant. Let's give them Right, my feedback is that was excellent. She stood up straight. She engaged with each and every person in the audience. She did question and answers. It was very interactive, very interesting. And she had visual in there definitely because of, she said, the pictures. She was very auditory because I was really listening to all those endorphins and stuff, a lot of science there. You did very, very well. And then on top of that, she was showing kinesthetic, she was showing the energy herself with her body language. Her body language was absolutely great. And she was smiling throughout. And when I looked at the audience, everybody was smiling. That was absolutely brilliant, Priscilla. I'm so proud of you. Honestly, you have done so well. Very, very pleased with that. Excellent. Right, who can actually outshine that now? Is there anybody else? Put your hand up if you would like to come to the front and just talk us through your... Right, come then, Brother Tariq. It's equal
I was
opportunity.
waiting to the gentleman then, but that's all right.
The thing is, it's equal opportunities, isn't it? And then somebody will tell me that I didn't include the vet. So I do get that a lot by winning.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Tariq Mahmood, and I'm part of the healthcare group. There's one worker from the NHS, she worked in mental health, and I work as a pharmacist, and the other colleague in my group was a GP, and another person in my group was a psychologist. So the topic for today is smoking cessation. Why me? I help smokers to quit smoking, so do other members of my group, like the GP, by giving brief advice, brief intervention, which is recommended. It only takes a minute or two, basically to put the idea into the people's heads that quitting is possible. So why me? I engage in brief interventions and also detailed interventions. Detailed interventions involve knowing the people's smoking history, why they smoke, how quickly they smoke in the mornings, how many they smoke. All those things give a score called the Fagerstrom addiction questionnaire. So it gives a score out of 10. So somebody who scores high, that means they're highly addicted. And people who smoke quickly in the morning, like within 3 minutes, they're more addicted than somebody who smokes 2 hours after waking, they're less addicted. So the auditory intervention would involve talking to them about the ingredients of smoking, which are carbon monoxide, tar, and nicotine. Nicotine causes the addiction. It doesn't cause cancer, but carbon monoxide causes tiredness and combines with the blood and stays in the blood for days. And we have a machine which measures the carbon monoxide. So addiction score, advising about ingredients, taking the smoking history, and explaining that the parents who smoke in front of children, they become a role model. I imagine nobody here is a smoker today here. And the other thing, visually, it's possible to show them graphs that in the 1950s or after the war, majority of people smoked, maybe up to 80%, 70% of people smoked. And nowadays, 80% of people don't smoke, only 20% smoke. Visually, we can also show pictures of diseased lungs. My colleague in my group mentioned that. Leaflets can be given, carbon monoxide measured, that being the kinesthetic. Often I will try and take people's cigarettes off them, and if they don't give them to me, there and then, I say to them, give them away to somebody you want to kill off because it's a poison. And, yes. And kinesthetically, I would ask them to look at the patches, touch the nicotine inhaler, the nasal spray, the mouth spray, the lozenge, Lozenge, okay, we have a debate.
So you'll bring the stuff in as well?
Yes. To baffle them with a choice, that there is lots of help available. There's also tablets, prescribable tablets, prescription products. And it's possible to have quitters, testimonials, quitters stories, how they succeeded and how long they stopped, and monitor the carbon monoxide. The expired breath contains carbon monoxide. A non-smoker does not have carbon monoxide in the body, but a smoker does. Finally, in a kinesthetic, I would encourage them to put all their money into a pot, which would be £11 a day if they smoke 20 cigarettes a day, and after 1 year, that would become £4,000. And after 10 years, it would become £40,000. And then I would ask them, if you save £4,000 a year, what would you actually do with it? So when you get their imagination going, it makes them think that it is possible. So it's important to put into their mind that is possible. Monitoring is essential, and I will keep the records. And when they start quitting, you have to describe to them the problems their body will have, like a cough maybe, or mouth ulcers. And just keep them encouraged that if they can do the first few days, the first few weeks, first few months, they're the most important. The first few days are critical, followed by the first few weeks and the first few months. That's it, my talk. If there's any
that was
questions.
excellent. So that was a different kind of talk, very professional type of talk. But what I really liked about it was facts and figures. So there were facts and figures, and he also mentioned he will display the figures according pictorially, didn't he, in graphs. So that was really good. He also mentioned pictures of lungs to put you off smoking and things like that. And he will bring in things. And what I really liked was the alternative, the money saving and that kind of stuff. He also cracked a joke in there. A joke really helps. So a bit of sense of humour helps. So he made everybody laugh. So it had all those ingredients in it, and I would definitely say it contained all the 3 criteria that, you know, the auditory, the kinesthetic and the visual. It had everything in there actually, and very confidently he came to the front. No stuttering, nothing, he just stood there, he just did it. So it was really, really good. So well done, excellent. Okay, with the next group, I'd like you to include a little bit of special needs, please. So what would you do in terms of special needs? So I think your group is very ready, yes? You're very enthusiastic. Who would like to come to the front?
Come this way.
Yeah, so just include a bit of special needs. Do you know you're all there, and I can honestly see so far your confidence has already gone up really high, hugely. I mean, it's not easy standing and talking to you.
Psychology government.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Robert Noble. I've come from the Dawah Group Straight Path, and the topic we're going to talk about is on Ramadan. So, and the importance of Ramadan as well. With Ramadan coming up in 2 months, the most important thing as Muslims is how we can actually connect to Allah, and also how we can improve in our fasting as well, as from a Muslim perspective, and from a non-Muslim perspective, when they revert to the religion, how once they actually know the 5 pillars in terms of fasting, how they won't struggle. So that's one of the important things in terms of connecting.
Okay, so if you could just talk us through the 3 types of learning, what you would do in each. I'll guide you. So auditory, then visual, then kinesthetic. What would you do?
Okay, so with the auditory, so with auditory there's an ayah where we recite.
Yeah, I think at this stage, when he gets a little bit nervous, the group should come forward and help a little bit. So, Brother Sharif, did you want to?
I don't know what I can do, but you could say you're gonna.
Yeah, you can say, you can talk about it if you can't play.
So what we do is when we recite, as a Muslim, you understand the actual benefits of fasting, and then from a non-Muslim point of view, once you hear the recitation, you actually understand how it's like to fast. And also during the fasting as well, we actually feel how it is like to be disadvantaged as well. So during the fasting.
Okay, is it playing now?
Yes, sir.
Let's have a listen. That's it.
So this is one of the recitations.
Okay, so that's your auditory, good. Right, visual?
And with the visuals, so with the visuals, if you go on your phones and type in Ramadan in the Google images, you'll understand how Ramadan is a community. Especially at Isha, when we break our fast, when we're giving dawah and we're in public, we're all together, and people give food and we share food. So that's one of the satisfying things as a Muslim, and also as a community level. Also, when you go on your phones, you actually see pictures, you know, and also giving out samples as well, dates. You know, giving out samples of halal foods as well. So when people try it, they feel replenished in terms of breaking their fast. Prophet ﷺ, he will always break fast with dates. So and obviously, me doing personal experience, me doing my first Ramadan last year, I found that very satisfying.
Oh, you're a revert?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know that one. Gosh, I mean, for a revert to give a talk like that is amazing.
Yeah.
Just last year, you said?
Yeah, I gave my shahada last summer.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
I thought you were actually, you know, born Muslim there, and he's telling us all of that. Okay. Right, so we've done a bit of kinesthetic. I like the bit about giving dates out, so people can actually engage in fasting and actually open their fast. That is very, very good. Well done. Anything else?
And in terms of the kinesthetics, I want to put questions out there. How is your experience in terms of Ramadan as a family, Ramadan in terms of the mosque as well, and even in the masjids as well? Like, how do you feel, especially during the pandemic as well? You know, like, what's your questions on how Ramadan could be better for us?
I really miss the sharing.
Yeah.
At Maghrib time of food.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't meet anybody.
Yeah.
And I miss the evening.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your kinesthetic would be asking the audience from their own experience really of Ramadan. Yeah. Well done. Any special needs there? Because we've got to include special needs. So what would we do for special
If
needs?
somebody was sick, did they fast? Is there certain sicknesses like?
If somebody is sick, it depends on their personal condition. Like for example, I saw Muslims eating during fasting time, and that could be due to their sickness. So so it depends on the person, individual person.
Yes, there's 7 categories, but obviously your talk is quite simplified, so you wouldn't go into that. But you could say something like, if they're ill and they need medication, or if somebody's pregnant or breastfeeding, that kind of stuff. Okay. So how would you use your presentation to engage special needs people? Somebody, for example, who's dyslexic.
Okay, so
did I give you?
So obviously the illness in terms of being sick, that's a personal condition.
Not fasting, but say you're giving your talk. Are you going to have a PowerPoint?
We're going to.
Yeah. Did you mention PowerPoint?
Yeah,
We
PowerPoint.
use that. We use the speeches.
Let Brother Sharif, you tell us, because you're doing all the actions there. You are right.
We would have a PowerPoint, and we, like you said yourself during your talk, that we have different colours just to accommodate the visual impaired, etc.
Yeah, and the background of the slides needs to be cream for dyslexics, not white, because it glares out. I forgot to mention that. Backgrounds need to be cream with writing, and minimum writing, more pictures. Okay? Good, well done. Let's give him a very good clap. Now, considering he was a revert, what's your name? Noor Bilal. Oh wow, mashallah. Considering he was a revert, he did really, really well, and to have the confidence. He spoke very confidently. You saw the way he came, and straight away he introduced himself. It was all very, very good. Factual information, he backed it up with the Quran, which was auditory, which would engage anybody who's listening. And then you mentioned questions as well, and I really love the bit about giving away dates. I love that. That's really going to excite the audience, isn't it? Giving away freebies. Right, coming up to this group now, is there anybody here who would like to come to the front and present to us? Well, we're having a duet. Okay, that's fine. In fact, I must say, Linda is already from the time I've known her. Don't you think, Linda, that you're getting better and better? Last time you had a video, didn't you? And you had all your books with you, with all the quotes you were reading. So just in my little short time I've known Linda from the Interfaith Forum, I have noticed a huge change. And I've actually noticed a very big change with Brother Tariq as well. I don't know if anybody remembers him at the beginning. It was very different, very, very different. He was at a beginner stage, but each time I tell him, he improves and gets better and better and better. And now I fear everybody's going to outshine me soon. Right, okay.
I'm a teacher.
Just listen, everybody.
I'm a teacher by profession. I'm very comfortable speaking in front of teenagers, but when there's a room full of adults, this is really hard for me. So our learning objective is, what is autism? So we would introduce who we are. We're teachers, and I think one of the teaching standards is we have to accommodate all students so they can access the curriculum. Why were we invited?
We were invited so that we can help other teachers and maybe care professionals and maybe some parents as well to have some help teaching children effectively that have autism, because it can be a very emotive, a very difficult subject as well. And the reason we think it's important is
it's because it's so that everyone has access to education and everyone's included and no one feels excluded. And also, just so everyone's a bit more aware of how to manage children or adults with autism and be more understanding of others as well. So I think the first question we would ask, just to involve everyone, is what is autism, just to get a general idea on what you all understand what autism is. And I think that would be a kinesthetic activity, getting you involved.
Okay, I'm just going to pause and give you feedback as I go along. That is crucial, because that will then give you an idea of just how much knowledge everybody's got. Is it advanced? Is it basic? And then you will gear your next part according to what they know already. So I really like that one. That's really good.
The next thing we would ask is, what is your experience with autism? So then we get an idea of people's background with autism, like you said, are they teachers, parents, carers, things like that. Okay, so then we thought we should include some visual and auditory. A lot of our visual prompts overlapped with the auditory as well. So how autistic children might express their needs. So rather than us telling you about how they might do that, we have a video up there which can use, you get those nice videos where they're drawing and writing at the same time, and I think people find them really useful. And also we then ask, what behaviours do you expect an autistic child to exhibit, and how would you manage that? So we could either get people to work in small groups and give them a scenario. How would you manage that particular scenario? So that could be...
Let's pause there. That's an excellent way, actually, because it's role play, it's acting, it's engaging, it's kinesthetic, you're in small groups, you're doing something, and it fits down to a T with autism as well, for them to understand it and express it and all the rest. That's really good.
Thank you. And then we said as a task, a written task now, is to create a flow chart of the scenario. So what strategies would you use? So rather than just acting it out, some people might need that written or visual, so get them to create a simple flow chart. This is how I'll manage the situation.
Brilliant. I think I'd like you to do the whole event here. all of you six.
The other thing we're going to do, again, it's another auditory visual overlap, is a video of a doctor giving a definition of autism. We know it's a wide spectrum there, so that would be a very useful thing that people would be able to see. Where does the child that I have, or the child that I teach, or the child that I care for, where do they come within the range of that definition? And then we'll be looking at strategies to cope with challenging behaviour.
Okay, yeah, and then as a plenary, just to end it off, I think we probably do a quiz. So where you started off, and then how much do you know now, sort of thing, and that just gives us a good. How should you learn in that session?
Now that's excellent. In fact, I'm going to come to that in a minute. How do you know they learned? You need to know ways of how do they know that everybody learns. So quiz is brilliant, and it's fun as well, and it's interactive.
And then for SEND, I mean, I think a lot of that was incorporated in the lesson, or the
quiz would, yes.
Yeah, and but we thought we could use the Comic Sans font for the dyslexic children, the images, visual prompts, keeping the information simple because it can be quite a bit much. Use less colour for autistic children rather than, I know in this speech, in this lesson, we learned about using colour, but I think
no sensory overload.
And then role play and things like that to cater for everyone's needs.
Brilliant. Big clap there.
Well, I was thinking against going in, but I'll ask you as you find out. But Could you tell us a bit about autism for maybe we don't know?
Not today. Brother Sharif, I'll send you my autism lecture. I've done a whole lecture on that, okay?
Sorry.
Yes. Now you're taking over the show here. Right, well done. That was actually excellent. There were 4 very different presentations there, but all 4 of them had very, very good bits in there which showed all of those characteristics that we're looking at. So well done. And all 4 of them, I would say, engaged the audience. Not a single person was looking away. So well done to all of you. I'm going to quickly now just discuss a few more things that you can put in your talks. One is sense of humour, okay, which some of you did use. So you put up funny pictures which make you laugh. Okay, already there's a lady there laughing because she thinks that's funny. Okay, you must have a little bit of food, but not so much that it takes you away from the presentation. Just like what we had today, snacks. And references must be on your slides. So, for example, the autism lecture just now, you gave us a lot of facts. The NHS lecture here on smoking gave us a lot of facts, but we need references. So you may say, oh, 80% of people don't smoke nowadays, I think you said, in comparison to years ago, but where's the evidence? You could be making that up, okay? So we need references. Sometimes you can show a book as well, so take the book along with you, okay? At the end, give them some kind of award to show that they participated, like a certificate. Or if it's a quiz night, you can do a medal, okay, or trophies. So I've got these few all certificates which you can take now. Fasila, if I could borrow you to do the honours. In giving them out, that would be really kind of you.
There are no names on it.
No, because it's too, I didn't know who was going to come and who wasn't. A good thing I did, because I had 75 people registered. Okay, and then we should also have a evaluation feedback. You can either do it then and there, which is the best, before people forget, or you can do it through SurveyMonkey is the word, really easy, where you send it out electronically afterwards. From that SurveyMonkey, you can make a graph as well, okay? So I will send you out a SurveyMonkey link through Eventbrite, okay? And you can do that. I do have a few here that you can look at, what they look like. This is ones I did at my university. Khadija, if you can give these out, 1 per group, just to have a look at. 1 per group. Okay? Right. By the end, I think Khuja, you like this picture, don't you? So here's another joke. Before public speaking and after public speaking. You will find afterwards, it's a lot of energy it takes out of you, and that's your time to go and eat, okay? But you cannot leave the audience. You need to still interact with them, say your goodbyes, you know, okay? Okay, listen carefully, please, because this bit is very important. This lecture will get uploaded onto my YouTube channel. I will send the link out through Eventbrite with the teacher training link and the PowerPoint presentation training link, because it all comes as a package. So many people today said to me, we understand everything you've said, but we still lack confidence. For that, you need a self-confidence lecture, which is actually next week, which Khuja has organised through Croydon Mosque. Although it's through a mosque, everybody can join that. I've opened up to non-Muslims if that's okay with you. Okay? So skills to step up your self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth. How can you become a Superman? How can you become Wonder Woman? Saturday, 26th February, it is on Zoom this time, so you can do that whether the weather's hurricaning out there or not. That is the ID and the passcode for Zoom, okay? And you should have that all in your PowerPoint in your notes already, so I don't need to worry about sending out links. Okay? At the end, you must always finish off with questions. So now I'm going to open up the floor to any questions you've got of any kind to me on what we covered. Questions or comments? Yes?
First of all, I'd like to criticise my own presentation. I forgot to say that our religion says smoking is no good for you and shouldn't smoke. So I forgot to bring the religion aspect into it. And one of our colleagues who left, she works in mental health, and people with mental health, they smoke more. So I forgot to mention that one.
Okay.
My question now to you is, how long should a presentation be to make sure the public has the greatest concentration so you don't lose them due to tiredness?
Do you want to answer that question? Now, you didn't hear his talk at the beginning. What did you say in your talk? You said, I have done a PowerPoint for 4.5 hours. You said it in your speech at the beginning. Look at your speech. Let's read that speech out again.
Longest lecture has been 4.5 hours, after which our audience was still fully engaged.
Yes, and Khadija, you are my proof. Everybody was still there at the end. Yes, 4.5 hours.
Yes.
So you can do it. If you use all of these, you can do it. You can. Because I was constantly asking questions. Oh, you've got to do this now. Now you've got to do this now. I've been at it for over 2.5 hours now as well. Okay? Right, so that answers that question for you. Anybody else got a question? Yes? Brother Shree.
It's not going against what's just been said, but backing up what Brother Tariq said, is there a concentration span for different people for...
There is for different people, yes. So children will have lower concentration spans. Adults, 20 minutes is their normal concentration span when it's a khutbah type thing, lecture, without any visuals and everything else. 20 minutes is the most. I'm usually asleep in khutbahs. Everybody knows. I just find them so boring, I really do. It's just, you know, like a record. You have to do this, you have to do that, you will go to hellfire, and all this business. And you just think, oh my God, I just switch off. When somebody's telling you off, you just switch off. There's a way to do it. Smile and lovingly you bring people to religion. So anyway, that's my point of view. But if you do it nicely and put in jokes and engage with the audience, ask questions, then longer periods you can do it for. Okay? Somebody had a question over there. Yes,
After how long would you give a break?
Halfway through. Halfway through, like I did today.
Okay.
Halfway through. Okay? But not at the end. It's too late at the end. It needs to be in the middle when people need a break. At the end, you're having your break when you go out, aren't you, to go back home. Okay? Right. Anybody else? Yes? Priscilla.
Give us tips on how to control the emotions.
Say that again?
Tips on how to control the emotions during presentation.
You know what? I don't think you should. I think you should be yourself. That's what people like about me. I am me. I'm not pretending to be anybody else. There's a little bit of acting going on there, a little bit, when you over-exaggerate things. But do you mean like crying emotions?
While I was talking, my throat was tightening up because I was anxious.
Right. You need to have a glass of water with you and deep breathing before. We didn't see that though. So you may feel nervous. We didn't see that. So don't draw attention to it. Okay? So, yes, I was nervous today, but nobody can say I was, but I'm not telling you I was. You see, everybody is inside. Okay? But you did very well. You did not come across like that. We were like flabbergasted. What the hell's happened to Priscilla? You know, this was the new problem. What's going on here? So, yes, it was brilliant, actually. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, the way you stood and everything. It's just excellent. Okay, yes, Lubna.
Yeah. When I run a women's group,
Yes.
in the hall and on the Zoom. But
Yes.
what I find is that people are coming in and out and more at the end. So they're coming in, they're going out, and then some are talking. So I don't I get them engaged, but then they seem to be going in and out. So how do you keep them?
So audience management, okay.
That's where
Food at the end, so they don't eat and go. That's another thing. Sometimes if you have food at the beginning, they eat and then they're out the door. So food should be halfway, so they know they've got to stay. You know, in our interfaith forums, we have question and answers after eating, so people know they have to stay. Okay? So that's audience management really there. You need to be stricter. You need to say once you're out, you can't come back in, like with Zoom. Once you leave, we can't allow you back in.
let's do that at the beginning when you.
Yes, at the beginning, like I set the rules. I don't know at what stage you came in, to be honest.
You missed that. You missed that.
Yeah, I will give you, I'll send you my link, and it's at the beginning I set the boundaries. Mobile off, stop talking, this is the agenda, and I also said you don't, if you go, I can't give you a certificate. I said that at the beginning, that's a boundary, isn't it? You won't get a certificate if you go. And if you've got a freebie, you won't get no dates or Zamzam until you stay for the duration of the whole lecture. Simple. Or later on, we've got a guest speaker coming at this time, so make sure you stay for that. And we have to respect us and stay quiet. Okay? I will check your skills when I come to you, because I'm coming to Croydon soon to give the well-being lecture on things. Yes. Pooja.
How would you actually stop somebody from talking? You're doing your presentation and you allow somebody to say one thing and then go on and on and on about that.
Yeah.
Your audience.
Yeah. You've got to stop and say, okay then. So you've got to say, okay then, let's stop now, like that. You have to stop. If it's Zoom, it's easy, you can mute them. It's really easy, you just mute them. I've done it a few times. Yeah, you just mute them. But in real life, it's much more difficult. But again, you've got to be quite emotionally intelligent, so you can give them a stink look. I did do a stink look earlier, I don't know if you were there then. So a stink look as in, shut up now. Or you can look at your watch. There's so many things you could look at the watch or start yawning.
My daughter just said to me, you just drop your pen.
Yeah.
And then they will stop talking.
Yeah, so there's certain little things, but you can't offend the person. The fact that they're talking means they're enthusiastic. Okay? Right, any more questions before we finish? Yes.
Yeah. If I feel that I have lost the audience, how can I get them back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then you need to say, right, everybody, I'm not going to continue until we listen. I have had to do that a few times, actually. I'm not going to continue until you stop talking. Do you want me to finish this? Do you want me to finish this? Then stop talking.
Probably it was not their mistake they were talking. Probably my speech was boring. And I feel that I have lost them.
It's still respect for the speaker though. Even if your speech may be boring, it's still respect for the speaker. So you can say something like, you're not respecting me when you are talking in the middle, especially when I'm talking about Islam. That's the one that gets to me the most. When I'm talking about Islam, I actually tell people that you're disrespecting Allah and you're disrespecting His words, because I am putting on ayahs of the Quran here, so you need to listen, because you're disrespecting the religions, and all of a sudden people will listen.
No, it's not about talking. Sometimes I feel that they are not engaging, or they are not listening, or they are not interested in my work.
Okay, try all these strategies. Are you trying all these strategies that we talked about today? No.
No.
So now, this is why you're here. Try these strategies and watch the change. Watch the change, okay? This boy was first, then I'll do you, okay?
Yeah, so with speakers, what will be your method in, like if the speaker is more, like in terms of his right hemisphere, like if his or her speaking, in terms of them being confident with the right hemisphere, what will be your method if the speaker is struggling with the left side, like from a logical point of view? So,
okay, so you're struggling, it's very easy. You just, a PowerPoint is best. You're just putting on the slides and you just read your notes. And then change the slide and read your notes. Don't engage with the audience, just ask questions at the end, only if you know the topic well. Okay? So originally, I did a PowerPoint. My first PowerPoint was with secondary school children, and it was one of my first public lectures as an adult. And the original reason why I did a PowerPoint was people won't look at me, they'll just look at the slides. And I just changed the slides and just read the notes. And that's the easiest way how I would start. Slowly then, you add in, you know what, I know this subject now, let me start asking the audience questions. Slowly then you add in sound and you add in videos. Videos are good, you just play them and people will just watch them. You don't have to do anything, okay? So it's slowly, step by step, okay? Nasrin first, then Lubna. Okay, Nasrin?
I was just going to help Cicely here. I mean, what you said about losing the audience, so that's a classic teaching strategy. We teachers have to do that when, if you have children and you're trying to teach them and you lose the class, then you have to reshape the lesson. So with the speech, it would be the same sort of thing. You would then reshape, you might open it up, so you change strategy, so you might ask the audience to interact, because obviously you've lost the audience, you've lost the attention.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. You know why? What is she doing now? Somebody needs to tell me. You're taking over my role. No, this is important. I'm glad this has happened. So you know what? You're not allowed to do that. Because I'm the speaker and I'm teaching the audience. Okay? So what's someone in the audience, if they do take over the answer like that, then you have to stop them. This is again audience management. Okay? So this is actually, I'm glad it's come up, but then it undermines the speaker. Do you understand? You're nodding here. It undermines what the speaker is saying, and also sometimes, this has happened to me a few times, where the person in the audience says something opposite to what I've been saying. So then what I'm saying doesn't carry weighting, okay? So you've got to, you can say what you're saying when you're here, but not from the audience. But afterwards you can guide her. Okay? But nothing wrong with what you've done. In fact, it's giving us more ideas and strategies, you see. So I stopped you right there and I told you. Named and shamed you. Okay, Lubna first and then we'll have both. But it's good. Now, shall I tell you another idea? That the session's going well with the number of questions. When you get lots of questions, you know the session's gone really well. Okay? Right, so Lubna first.
Yeah, I was going to say that. During COVID, everything was fine, but what happens is the introduction of mine, it was all very in order, like a proper introduction and everything. So I've lost a bit of the plan of the introduction for when you do the group at the beginning, like introduce the speaker and how you...
I did all that at the beginning, you missed that bit. So if you watch my lecture from the beginning, and I explained somebody else should introduce, or the person hosting it should introduce the person, and then the person introduces.
It doesn't show good if you're not good right from the beginning, does it?
Yes. So what you need to do is just to watch the beginning. That was all covered at the beginning, the introduction. Okay? Was it you who had a question?
Yes, I've got a question. It's really a scenario that you're doing a presentation on, or a fundraiser presentation on a scenario of Palestinians and they're suffering mentally, malnutrition, poverty, unemployment, and a Zionist has got into the audience and stands up and says they're extremists and terrorists. How would you handle that situation?
Yeah, I have come across that situation actually before, where I was giving a talk. It was an interfaith forum, and this lady stood up and started abusing me, verbally abusing me, and I just said, I'm not going to carry on anymore. I said that personal comments, I will talk to you later, after the talk. I will talk to you later on. Here's my contact details if you can contact me. That has actually happened with another person who's an atheist who's attacked me verbally as well for the audience. And I said, right, here's my email address. If you can email me and I will answer you in a nice, calm, diplomatic manner. That's all you have to do. Have your contact cards ready to give to that person. So here you go. I understand where you're coming from. I will answer you that privately. Just email me. Okay? And have your cards ready. In fact, you should all have contact cards as well to give to people. Okay? There's somebody here. Brother Sharif. I've got all your names now. Yes.
How, like, obviously, sorry, forgive me, we've come here to learn public speaking.
Yes.
But basically, if we're not given public, how do we practice it if we're not actually doing it? Is there ways or methods that we can practice public speaking without actually doing it, or?
I think that you should practice with children first. This is how I started. I was really not confident. Ask some of my school friends, I never used to speak, and they're shocked at me now. They go, I can't believe this is the same Sidra now giving public speeches like this, you know. But it comes with practice with children, because children are non-judgmental, they don't judge you. So practice with children.
Yeah.
Go in a mosque and say, for example, I'd like to teach children. The mosques are short, really, of people at the moment, such a big shortage. And say, I'd like to teach some children, you know, little children, some prophet stories. Can I do that? And they are non-judgmental, and you can very easily pick up skills. My skills came later when the parents of the children started coming in to listen. That's when I upped my game with adults. But I was always children. I'm a primary school teacher by profession. Okay, Khadija?
You know my problem, my camera.
Yes.
My positioning.
Yes.
When I'm running the session, what would you say about that?
Okay, so you need to watch my teacher training session where I covered online, online speaking. So basically you need to sit in the middle, and the camera needs to be slightly above your nose, so you look up at it. In that way all your eyes open up wide. Okay? Good lighting, like a lamp. If it's dark, you need a lamp. I've got one lamp on this side and one lamp on that side, believe it or not, in my study. And the camera needs to be up, so you look up, and you need to be in the middle and watch yourself. What are you looking like? Not on the side, not on the side. Okay? Practice smiling as well. The first couple of Zooms, I look like I'm miserable. There's just nothing there, honestly, and emotions and all that, but I got the hang of it later.
What?
Zoom is more difficult than live, actually.
Yeah. What happened when somebody make a comment saying you're smiling too much, you need to stop in the audience?
Do you know that's happened to me? I don't care, to be honest. I'll tell you a story. So I said personal stories, didn't I? When I was training, and she said to me, Sidra, you laugh and smile far too much. Your teeth should not be on display. She said, and I just went home and I thought, I don't really care, because I'm not going to change my personality. It's boring. Or I think she's, you know, the way she's boring. I better cut that bit out of the story. And I just, because I'm going to get the sack. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to be myself. I like cracking jokes, I like smiling, I like laughing. So I think that you should be yourself. Was it you who asked me that question?
Yes.
Smiling. You know what, and people have said that to me, but I am myself. I would be artificial then, wouldn't I, if I, you know, don't smile and laugh. And it's one of the strategies within teaching is to smile and engage with the audience and things like that. So I would be yourself. Okay? Right. Any more questions? We are... Okay, right. Well, thank you very much. That's another thing you said, ladies. Thank you very much, and then everybody knows that we've finished. Okay? So thank you so much for coming. I'm going to finish off by saying that you were all a wonderful, wonderful audience. Very interactive. You smiled all the way through. You did all your work. You didn't complain once that it went over, well over the time either. But I'm hoping that you did learn some skills. But I'll see you all next week at the self-confidence skills lecture, which is online. Okay? Thank you very much.